All right, well, thanks for sticking around for the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown tonight. We have a good one planned for you tonight, an all-star panel here tonight talking about the Steelers, the Pirates, the Penguins, and Pitt. Paul Zeise, Tim Benz, and Jason Mackey all joining me tonight, and we're going to be talking about the Steelers first. A big win for the Steelers, their second preseason win, but also we're going to point out some flaws in tonight's game. The defense wasn't great in their first 3 series. The offense was missing a ton of guys, and we're going to start the conversation with James Conner here coming up in a couple minutes and talk about his performance tonight. 98 yards he on the ground. He had an up and down game, started out a little slow, but managed to finish on a strong note. And we'll start with Tim Benz, who happens to be the most popular guy on Twitter tonight. And James Conner, a lot of national outlets are picking up on what James Conner did tonight. He did it in the second half of the game, most of his yardage, the bulk of his yardage, but he did run hard. But, you know, one outlet out there was saying that he's making, what, $3 million over 4 years? Le'Veon Bell's making $12 million for 1 year. What are they trying to say?
I think they're trying to say too much too fast, and that's Pro Football Talk who sent that tweet out, Richie. And to your point earlier about my popularity on Twitter, if Pitt fans showed up at Heinz Field in the droves that they did on Twitter to defend James Conner, they wouldn't have that pesky attendance problem. But as it relates specifically to James Conner today, I thought he was the running back version of Josh Dobbs. He was bad early, got himself going, and was really good late. So good for him for bouncing back. But let's not conflate the great story that James Conner is with where he is on the development arc. He hasn't practiced very much at all. He got it going after 2 drops today against backups. Granted, he was running behind backups too, but to me, the suggestion to even put into the same breath his value against the cap versus what Lev Bell, an all-pro, will be when he signs and comes in is ridiculous and, frankly, actually unfair to Conner.
James Conner's not even the #1 backup right now, Paul Zeise. He still has a ways to go. And even I talked to him in the locker room afterwards, and he admitted that he's got a lot of work to do, especially catching the ball.
Exactly. He does, and he knows that. But I think we're way, way, way overrating what Pro Football Talk means. You know, I heard you say, Richie, you know, a lot of national outlets are picking this up. As far as I know, we're talking about one national outlet who made a stupid tweet. So to me, I think we put way, way too much stock in this. I think most people understand James Conner's a rookie and has a long, long way to go.
Well,
Jason,
Paul, I'll say in Richie's defense there, the way he set that up, I had tweeted to me a number of links from NFL.com, ESPN.com, from Pitt fans who were talking about embracing this more and not pointing out the football angle. But, you know, I think that what James Conner has said, what the Steelers have said is, you know, as for as great of a story as this is, we want him to be judged on football as well as the story. So let's judge him on football, which was half bad early, much better late. Great story, but a so-so game.
But I don't think anyone would argue with that. I'll let you talk, Jason. I mean, I don't think anyone really.
Paul, you don't let anyone talk.
I don't know any sensible
person that would argue.
Check
my timeline. You're not allowed to say anything negative at us.
Well, I mean, we're talking about fans. We're not talking about real people.
Oh, okay.
I mean, we're talking about, I mean, seriously, fans to say irrational things. I'm talking about people that are rational. I would say that most people, the overwhelming majority, understand the story is different than him as a rookie running back.
Well, then I guess the media relations director at Pitt isn't rational then, because he's one of those that chimed in. But go ahead,
Jason, there's no question that Conner is an inspiration, but there's also no question he has a long way to go to be Le'Veon Bell.
He would be the first person to tell you that, and he did. After the game,
yes,
he talked about he needed to be better in the passing game, and he does. But let's just sit here for a second and celebrate and clap our hands for a really, really awesome story.
Okay, well, then let's do that. Let's do that. Let's not talk about his value against the cap versus what Lev Bell's will be. Let's do exactly what you're talking about.
I was getting there, pal. You got your play on Twitter. No, what I'm saying is let's not get caught up in a stupid tweet. Nobody in the sane realm of society is going to trade James Conner for Lev Bell. It's not going to happen. But at the same time, yeah, what James Conner did was really, really neat. And I think that's what flared everybody up when Tim came at this thing with a little bit of logic at Pro Football Talk. And, you know, it's just a moment that we should step back and realize what a really cool thing James Conner did.
Okay, if they had tweeted out, hey, James Conner with a 20-yard run, what a really cool thing he did, that'd be great. Then don't link it to, like, you know, if you want somebody to be offended here, it should be Lev Bell who's offended to be suggesting that somehow a rookie who's had one good half is somehow in the same stratosphere of what Lev Bell will be when he eventually signs the tender and comes back.
And they don't send that tweet out if it's Fitz Toussaint. They just don't.
Exactly.
It's because it's James Conner.
Exactly.
Or if it's
mostly
Davis.
because nobody thinks that Fitzgerald Toussaint is the next running back.
Because he probably isn't.
He isn't, but I'm saying I think James Conner is a rookie that's a high-profile rookie, which is why people are trying to say, okay, is this the next guy? I don't know that he is or he isn't, but I mean, to me, I mean, I think we're talking about pro football talk here way too much. And Tim, here's the thing, okay? I understood what you had to say. Jason understood what you had to say. Richie understood what you had to say. But the way that you said it, it came off a little bit like you were trying to troll Pitt fans, who, by the way, were already upset at you because of the attendance crack, which was 100% trolling them. So
and 100% accurate, too.
So it might have been, no, well, actually it wasn't, because at the time there was about 20 people in the stands. So actually it wasn't accurate.
Right, so the numbers actually went up and more people were there ever than what he played in front of.
Because James Conner has actually played in front of a full stadium last year.
Once, yes.
Okay, so that means it wasn't accurate because he played in front of a full stadium and played in front of 50,000 fans.
Yeah.
When there was 5,000 people in the stands tonight, it wasn't accurate. I'm not saying—
It was sarcastic.
Listen, it was funny, all of that stuff. I'm just saying you had Pitt fans already riled up, and the way that you wrote this, your tweet wasn't as eloquent as it could have been, and that basically is why your timeline is what it is.
Well, it was an announced crowd of 48,000 plus tonight, and I can tell you, after his first carry, there was a huge applause for James Conner. Everyone's rooting for this guy. I think he's going to be a good NFL running back. Don't know if he's going to be the backup this year. Don't know how much he's going to play. He might make an impact on special teams at one point, but he's going to be a good running back. No question the starter right now is Le'Veon Bell, and he should be coming into camp at some point. Does anyone have any insight on when Bell's going to be here? He's got to be here by the first game.
Ask
for
Pro
sure.
Football Talk.
Maybe they know. But another guy everyone was anticipating tonight seeing was Martavis Bryant. The guy hasn't played in 19 months, and he looks like he can make a huge difference, Paul, with this offense, with some of the things that he can do that only a few wide receivers can do in the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, I think we knew that, though. I mean, the big thing with him is can he stay out of trouble? And if he does and stays healthy, I think he's going to have a really big year, and I think the Steelers' offense becomes really, really, really tough to deal with.
And contrary to what he might have said in the locker room, I do think he has some rust to knock off. He said the fumble that he had was merely the result of him juking himself into a bad position. Hey, he hasn't played, what is it, 16 months now?
19.
19, is that
it?
Yeah,
January
2000. Probably needed to be hit once or twice. He took a really good shot from a defensive player for Atlanta.
All you need to see is that 23-yard completion on the stop route, the way he came back and adjusted to the ball. That's what they need to see. That's the weapon he needs to provide opposite of Antonio Brown, and they did.
Before we get to break, Tim, real quick, talk a little bit about the defense. You heard Artie Burns. I know a lot of people out there are a little worried those first three drives, but Artie Burns said, hey, nothing to worry about. We haven't put everything in right now. So they're not too worried. It doesn't seem like it's only the second preseason game.
Yeah, I mean, but we then shouldn't blow up how good they were against the Giants, I guess, then, right? Because have the Giants put in everything? No, and they had a really bad offensive line in there. So, you know, if you want to draw nothing but positives from the New York game, then you have to draw some negatives from this game and vice versa. If you're going to draw nothing from this one, then draw nothing from the positives of New York. It's one way or the other. I mean, you know, you could just be consistent with it. You know, if they played really well against New York, then you have to say they didn't play well against the Falcons. If it doesn't mean anything in either game, then it doesn't mean anything in either game. And let's have one preseason game and get right to the regular season.
I know Paul wasn't too happy with them. He joined me on the nightly sports call just a little bit ago. The defense.
The first team defense.
The first team defense.
Well, I mean, I think again, you know, okay, you're missing a couple of starters, but that doesn't really absolve the fact that Ross Cockrell was not very good in this game. Robert Golden was not very good in this game. William Gay got beat a couple of times in this game, and even Sean Davis, who I know has been hurt, he wasn't very good in this game. So, you know, okay, maybe you don't have all your scheme things in, and maybe schematically you can do more. Those guys have to win one-on-one battles and have to be able to cover, and they did not do a very good job of it tonight.
What happened to T.J. Watt, by the way, too? He gets anointed the starter this week, and I somehow get that, but, man, he was just sort of a non-entity compared to that Giants game. Got lost a little bit. I thought Anthony Chickillo was actually a lot better than him. He looked tired early on, too.
And it's a good point, Jason, because last week Pro Football Talk actually put out a tweet comparing his contract to his brother's contract, which is kind of ironic.
All right, well,
They did?
hey, coming up next.
Oh, I was going to say, wait, that's pretty good.
Coming up
Tim.
next,
I like
we got a
that.
special segment, Tweets by Tim Benz.
Yes.
You can tweet us tonight. We have a live show. You can tweet me at least at Richie Walsh. We could maybe answer some of those questions coming up in the next segment. The next segment, we'll be talking about the Pirates and what they didn't do the last week. All that more coming up next. Stay right there.
The number one Cochran Sports Showdown is brought to you by Number One Cochran, Go One Better, and by Highmark Blue Cross Blue Shield. Have a greater hand in your health.